Oh, greetings, comrades. Hope this finds you well. Quick shout out to INN, the Indian News Network. Definitely follow them on all these social media platforms. Super excited to be a founding member of INN. So, this is a really good opinion piece by Tara Reade on RT titled "The Shaming of Sexual Assault Whistleblowers Needs to Stop, or has to stop," her phrasing, and completely agree 100%. Just really, really, disgusting. And we saw through some of the leaked emails that what the Cuomo camp's strategy was, to use the same strategy that the Biden administration used to smear and discredit Tara Reade when she came forward, and said that she had been sexually assaulted when she was a Senate staffer working for Joe Biden back in the 90s, and the same, fucked up chicanery that the Biden administration did, when she came out, with her story, is the same playbook that the Cuomo, hacks were using to discredit the people that came out and spoke out about, Andrew Cuomo sexually assaulting or, harassing, several people, right? And again, Tara Reade has been smeared so much in the corporate media, particularly by, liberal establishment voices, particularly ones that claim to care about, Me Too and believing women. And obviously that was all, bullshit, because they only care about that stuff if it's politically convenient, for their side. But as soon as somebody comes out, and says that, somebody sexually assaulted them and there's a D next to their name, it's, well, look at all this. It's, no, we can't. It's fucking disgusting. Have some fucking morals, have some fucking ethical, standards and backbone. Sexual assault, rape, harassment, all that stuff. It's fucked up no matter who does it, whether it has a D or R next to the name. That shit is fucked up. It needs to be called out, and those people that perpetrate those disgusting acts need to be, held accountable as much as possible, right? So here we go. The abhorrent tactic of victim shaming the women who speak out against those committing sexual harassment is now all too common in the U.S. It signifies the diabolical intent to protect powerful predators at the expense of truth. 100%. When Amy Frank decided to become a whistleblower in sexual assault and sexual harassment in the U.S. military, she realized it meant possibly losing her career due to the retaliation that regularly faces those who challenge and expose a broken system. However, as a survivor herself, Frank was determined to speak up for young soldiers and victims of soldiers who were denied access to justice. The case included domestic violence as well as sexual assault, and some resulted in suicide by the victim, murder, and unexplained deaths. In a recent episode of my podcast, The Politics of Survival, Frank, who held the position of Sexual Assault Response Coordinator and Sexual Assault Program Manager for Army Service Component Commands, discussed the harsh reality of the military's lack of response to an epidemic of sexual assault in the ranks and the damage it has done. Frank stated bluntly, 1 in 4 women in the U.S. military would be sexually assaulted. The rates of suicide, we've had over 30,000 kill themselves since 9/11. There's no data how many are related to sexual assault. They wanted me to shut up, to not speak up about what was happening to these soldiers. They were trying to revoke my credentials and take away my security clearance. As well as that, Frank's own case was leaked, violating her confidentiality, and she was denied access to advocates. But that has not deterred her from continuing to speak out. Kudos to her. I mean, that shows a lot of courage, right? She explained, my soldiers trust me. Like the lady who was raped at 17 years old, she was still getting retaliation. She emailed me from Kuwait, still unable to get help. Even though I was suspended, I was trying to get her help. Frank created a nonprofit, Never Alone, to help soldiers and their families access resources and advocacy. She cites one of the cases where a victim took her own life after 9 special forces officers gang raped her and nothing was invested. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. According to Frank, the pervasiveness of sexual assault and domestic violence in the military ensures that Never Alone is a much needed resource. had the experience of dealing with the Time's Up Legal Defense Fund, receive an attorney who then dropped her 2 weeks before her rebuttal hearing. Frank was left with a complicated legal case and potentially no representation to face the U.S. Inspector General, but resourcefully found a new attorney. Is now waiting to see if Time's Up will come through with the funding. It probably not, because they've been shown to be fucking partisan hacks as well, right? When I hold the hands of moms and dads whose children killed themselves because they were raped and their commanders did not protect them, they deserve a voice. Yes, they do. Since our conversation on the podcast, Frank has again been threatened with the stripping of her credentials. She has filed a rebuttal and continues to ask for an investigation into the response to sexual assault cases in the U.S. military. As Frank's story demonstrates, it's not easy to be a whistleblower in any situation, but especially in institutions with embedded misogyny. It's pretty much any institution in the U.S., right? Kind of founded on, patriarchy. As we've seen in the case of former New York Governor Cuomo, finding the truth was not necessarily top of the agenda. Attorney General in New York released the details of the criminal investigation of Cuomo's behavior towards his own staff with startling and damning results. In one exchange between upper-level Cuomo staff, it was discussed how to shame a victim publicly, referring to Lindsey Boylan and Charlotte Bennett by employing the same, yes, this was what I was referring to at the start, by employing the same tactics Joe Biden used against me during his campaign. The playbook is to discredit and shame survivors into silence. We're made into inhuman objects of ridicule to shield the powerful predator from being exposed with his sexual misconduct. Intention is to destroy and demean survivors. Those tactics were used against Rose McGowan for years, the Cosby survivors, so many others, including me. Criminal investigation by the New York Attorney General revealed how Chris Cuomo, yes, he just got fired, right? How Chris Cuomo, the longtime CNN anchor, used his media contacts to try to downplay the charges of sexual misconduct against his brother. What a piece of shit. After the public airing of the CNN report, CNN suspended him from his duties and has actually been fired. Truth is, though, there were many complicit with trying to silence the truth about Cuomo that would lead to his resignation. Same with, Joe Biden when Tara Reade bravely, spoke out about Joe Biden sexually assaulting her, right? Incriminating messages in the Attorney General's report provide a snapshot of how an elite is protected. Pull what Biden said when he was accused during a campaign. Ex-Cuomo aide Danny Levers said to other advisors, I mean, how absolutely fucking just craven for wanting to, stay in power and wanting to protect those in power that you're willing to, discredit people who were, sexually assaulted and harassed by Cuomo, Biden, whoever else. I mean, how do these fucking people sleep at night? So just what are they, just complete and utter sociopaths with no type of, empathy or regard for others? I mean, god damn. This absolutely did not happen, Lever then wrote, quoting what the Biden campaign said about me verbatim before upping the ante by advising the wider team around Cuomo. I think we can victim shame on the record. Lever concluded her text by saying, in Biden camp never mentioned Biden, the denial part of the Biden and the denial part, only the part about women, and elevates it. This would be a Cuomo spot. There's simply no truth to these claims. The diabolical intent to win at the truth clear, and it is the pervasive acrobatic leadership. Yep, obviously applies to Republicans as well, but point well taken. The plan was not to only silence Lindsey Boylan, but to destroy her reputation, as mine was destroyed by the Biden campaign machine, further illustrating the Machiavellian approach to governance in America. Only solution is to keep exposing political corruption, the rotten infrastructure that destroys its own citizens. The process of coming forward about sexual misconduct should not mean whistleblowers are targeted. Yes, and that's just even discussing that has to be said, but it does, because that is exactly what happens, as she so eloquently pointed out in this article. There's another path, one of honoring each other's humanity and learning from past mistakes instead of the perpetuation of cycle of misconduct and misuse of power. And happy to say Tara Reade is also a member of the Indie News Network, which is really cool. I'd love to get her, on my channel for an interview at some point. I think, that'd be a really amazing conversation to have on, so many different topics, right? But definitely check that piece out. Definitely check out, her podcast. Her op-eds are really good. And again, she still is being smeared in the media, on social media, by these absolute liberal fucking hacks who, you know, claim to support, you know, women and believe in women and the Me Too movement. But once it became politically inconvenient, they started smearing people like Tara Reade because, you know, Joe Biden's a Democrat and, well, we got to get the orange man out. And Jesus fucking Christ, those people really revealed themselves to be the, you know, political hacks that they are, not having any type of real political, you know, convictions or morals, right? Like the video if you like the damn video. Subscribe to the channel. And quick shout out to the 2 Uber comrades supporting this channel. My partner in Indie Left News. Definitely check out Indie Left News. They're a great resource. Peace. Much love.